Throw your hands up in the air and say enough's enough. Do you want to learn to code and make some awesome stuff? Learn that anyone can when you're coding with Dan on. Whether you're a pro or this is all brand new, learn the overarching concepts and some fun stuff too. And with Dan as your guide, come along for the ride on. Make a crazy pixel mirror to reflect your face. You can make a jump to light speed into outer space. You can generate a maze that can go on for days. You can make your own terrain and some purple rain. You can make a retro game to see how it's done, and then tweak a piece to make it yours for everyone. Make some fractally trees or Twitter bots if you please. And when the seeds are all sown, you can make them your own on. Ride the colors of code, you can follow the road to.
Oh, hello. Welcome. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good middle of the night. I don't know where you are, what time it is. But I would like to know my name is Dan. Welcome. This is another episode of Coding, soon to be titled. I am live from New York City at the School for Poetic Computation in the West Village. And mostly, audio is good. Thank you, Dominique. So welcome. I don't know what's going on in the world, on the internet, on YouTube, but for some reason I would bring up a graph. I had like 5 times the amount of traffic just in the last week that I usually have. So I expect there might be new. I'm looking over here because this is where I can sort of see the live chat going. I'm hoping that I'm welcoming new people to the live stream. So let me just get started by introducing myself and talking about what this is and what's going to happen today. So my name is Dan Schiffman. I do a bunch of different things. I work on open source projects like processing in P5.js, part of the Processing Foundation. I teach at a program at New York University called ITP. And I also record videos here at this other location at the School for Poetic Computation. Once per week I do a live stream where I do some sort of tutorial about coding, and generally it's in processing or Java or JavaScript, sometimes with Node, sometimes with P5.js, a variety of stuff. This fall I have been pretty much recording videos exclusively about text generation and analysis as part of a course called Programming from A to Z. It's a course that I'm teaching at NYU, and I've been teaching a version of this course online. Let me pull up, I guess I will pull up the website for that, which is schiffman.net/A to Z. So if you're looking for all the videos that I've been recording so far this fall, they are all here on this website. If you're interested in participating in a Slack channel about the course, you can join my Patreon, which is a crowdfunding system that I'm using for this channel, and you can find that at .com. The URL is still codingrainbow.com, but I need a new name for this channel. It's going to happen soon, hopefully by the end of the year. And so I encourage you to come visit this website. You subscribe if you like these videos. You can become a patron. And I don't often do this because I didn't for today, but you can also sign up to get email alerts when I'm going to do a live stream. I am planning, by the way, I don't know when exactly yet, but either December 22nd or December 23rd to do an end of year not extraordinary, that's the wrong word, spectacle thing where I'm going to try to do an all-day live stream. So we're going to see if that happens either on Thursday or Friday, the 22nd or 23rd, and I've got lots of ideas in mind. Hello to Romania. So a couple things. I forgot, usually when I come here to do a live stream, I have this laptop, the one that you see right here on the wall behind me. I have a laptop over here that I can look at my Slack channel and the live chat and check audio and all sorts of stuff. I forgot that computer, so I don't have that. Then over here, I sometimes bring a tablet that runs a soundboard for me so I can play some music while I'm debugging something and that sort of thing. Forgot that too. So all I have is this laptop. I do have the streaming computer, and I'm able to see the chat on the streaming computer, and I'm looking over there. Yasu Takanye, is that how you say it? Is that right? How are you? Greek? I don't know. Hello, Slovakia. Okay, so I'm just curious here if I can scroll over and see how many people are watching. What? There are 230 people watching this? That is totally insane. So I don't know what's going on. What happened? I don't think this channel got posted anywhere. I don't know why I have this like massive amount of, I mean, massive is the wrong word. A larger amount of traffic than I had before. It's still in the grand scheme of the universe, a nice, friendly, small amount of people. And I welcome you all here. Switzerland, Brazil, Syria, London, what's with the unicorns? Okay, everyone asked me what's with the rainbows and the unicorns and all that sort of stuff. I like those things. They make me happy, they bring joy, delight. I like to not take this stuff too seriously. I like to look like we're having fun, and so the sort of color scheme and that sort of thing is what has kind of, but I'm just sort of amazed how crazy the chat is going. Okay, so let me get started. Okay, before I get started with the tutorials that I'm planning to do today, which I'm going to try to get started with that in about 10 minutes, I see greeting from North Korea, which I'm a little skeptical whether that's true, but that's nice. I would like to, your snake game got posted to Reddit. That's what's going on. Okay, so maybe that's what's going on. There's a Reddit post. I'm going to have to look for that and read all the comments about how terrible, what a horrible, horrible job I did with that snake game. So many things I did wrong. So many like long extra code things. I used an if statement instead of a switch statement, and I didn't really use a grid to describe the screen. Oh, hey, I really make lots of mistakes in my code, but this is part of programming, making mistakes and just doing stuff in the wrong way. That's why I like rainbows and unicorns, because I like to do everything incorrectly, however fun it is, and that sort of thing. Okay, so all right, let me see here. So one thing I want to briefly talk about, which is happening this week, if I go to code.org/learn, this week I believe is the Computer Science Education Week, run by code.org, called the Hour of Code. Last year I did two one-hour live streams for total beginners. You can find those in the archives on my channel of Getting Started with Processing and P5JS. Oh, look at this. VidCode is on here. VidCode is a wonderful project created by Ali Daraklis, I don't know if I said her name right, alumni of the program where I teach, ITP. The reason why I'm pointing this out is I also, if you're looking to get somebody new of any age, from pre-reader, grades 2 to 5, all the way to adult, this is a great resource, and there's an initiative for everybody to try an hour of code this week. And also on here, I just wanted to point out is the Processing Foundation. Hello, Processing. So the online tutorial that I worked on with the Processing Foundation can be found here. And the reason why I mention this is, once again, like today's tutorials that I plan on doing in this live stream are not for total beginners, because I'm assuming I'm kind of in the middle of recording videos from a course that assumes a lot of prior knowledge. But it's always asked of me, how do I get started? How do I learn? And there are so many resources. This is a good place to start. There are so many resources, and many better resources than my resources, but I will just mention, since we're here on my channel, that if you are looking for the playlists of mine, if you are a total beginner, if you've never coded before, or if you want to recommend programming to a friend, the playlist you want to look for, this is one of them. I'm standing in front of it, 1 to 6, Foundations of Programming in JavaScript. This playlist will start you from nothing to get started programming in JavaScript for the browser. And this is also a complete beginner tutorial. It relies on some of this stuff, but for doing HTML and CSS. And then also this here, the Learning Processing video series. This one here, Introduction Processing Tutorial. This will start you from nothing using an environment called Processing, which is built on the Java programming language. So if you're looking for your hour of code, you can go to code.org/learn and try any number of tutorials that are there. If you only if you enjoy my nasally loud, too much talking, rambling voice, then you can start with some of my tutorials here. And thank you, Mathieu, in the chat, who's posting some links to this sort of stuff. Mathieu Blanchette. I really also have to thank does editing and channel management for me, and none of this, I wouldn't be able to like keep up with all this stuff if it wasn't for his great work. Okay, hello to Algeria. This is amazing. By the way, I have never, ever had this many people watching live before, so I'm a little bit terrified because here's the thing: it's a little bit of a miracle that I'm here and doing this right now because I would say this week is my busiest week of the entire year in many ways. That's kind of probably an exaggeration, but it's final season at NYU and so much is going on. So I'm kind of walked in here, I had some sound problems. Hello, Canada. I'm kind of setting this up cold here. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I am going to, well, let's see here if, okay, let's see if I have the soundboard stuff on this computer. I'm going to see if I get lucky here. Oh boy, trial. Let's see if this works. I don't have a license. I mean, I do have a license to this, but I don't usually run this software off this computer. Trial. Okay, let's see. Oh, this is not the, let me see. I'm just trying to get the soundboard here. I'll just put it on this computer. Import soundboard, get more sounds. Hold on a sec. I'm going to this screen for a sec. All right, never mind. Sorry, the audio's not working on that screen. I have too many, I don't have, in a minute, I will see if I can look for the soundboard. Maybe we'll just have to live without music for today. So this is what I am going to do some tutorials on. So let me go back. Did I miss anything? Anybody have any questions? So let me go to this website here, and let me go to Database as Service. And let me open this up a little bit wider. Okay, so I am going to now do a tutorial and then hopefully a coding challenge as well using something called Firebase. What is Firebase? I'm going to just come over here for no reason. Now, first of all, my backpack is here in the way of where I'm going to stand. I have this whiteboard here, which I don't know that I need to use. But I'm also like a crooked because the camera's crooked and I was trying to straighten it and then I'm just like, I have to just go live. This is like I'm wasting too much time getting set up. But I'm looking at the chat. Hail the whiteboard, yes. Okay, so here's the thing. So I've talked about a bunch of different things over the last few months. We have, and I wonder if this should actually be a, so one of the things that I do in this live stream is I waste a lot of time like procrastinating against getting to the actual content. So if you don't like that, then you could just go watch the edited version of the videos that will get published later. But the live stream will hopefully be an hour or two. And after it's over, Mathieu, who I mentioned earlier, helps edit out certain kind of core pieces of it and makes them shorter individual tutorials which gets published into playlists. So, but if you ever want to find all the debugging and all the rambling, that's where you are right now in the live stream. The archive will still be available as well. So what I'm thinking here is, do I want to do a video? I'm not really set up to start, but that's okay. Maybe I'm gonna think that I'm gonna do an explanation of kind of why this matters and how it fits in. And that'll likely get spliced in as the first video in this, like this Firebase video series might be just like, somewhere around 2 or 3 or 4 videos. Okay, so I'm just gonna go check the chat. Albania, South, you guys, there's a lot of like, in the chat, like, please say this. So first I should mention, I can't really keep an eye on the chat. So, and is it really that exciting for me to just say something in the chat? I really, So try to at least, I don't know, keep the repetition down a little bit. So if people have questions or want to kind of discuss the content, I'd like to leave space for that in the chat if possible. And there's a few people who I've randomly assigned as moderators, and you guys are free to do what you like. Okay, so here we go. I am now going to get started. Hello, I am here today in this video to talk to you about something called Database as Service. So I want to put it in the context of kind of web programming in general, and this video is kind of sandwiched in the middle. It's you could just be here just to learn about databases and JavaScript and all that sort of stuff, but it's in the middle of this programming from A to Z playlist, and so I'm going to sort of set this topic in that context. So I've been using a variety of different tools and libraries and frameworks in making web applications around text in this video series. One is called P5.js, which is a client-side library for JavaScript, and it has lots of nice things in it, like drawing to the canvas and some DOM manipulation, and it lives on a client, which I will draw as like a little laptop here, and happens in the browser. Now, another aspect that I have explored is something called Node.js, also a framework for writing code in JavaScript for server-side programming. So, and the code that we've run runs on a server. Now, if you've watched some of my previous videos, you would have noticed that I'm running both the client and the server on one computer just to like mess around and try stuff and learn stuff, and because I'm just, coding. But if you were deploying, making a big thing and putting it out into the world, you would actually put it on some server somewhere, whether you have like an Amazon account or your own account or whatever, and then you might have lots and lots of clients all connecting to that server. Now, one of the things I explored is that on the server, you could store data. One of the examples I made just writes data to a local text file, a JSON, a JavaScript object notation text file that sits here. So you can think of the simplest scenario here as like you made a game that people are playing in P5.js, and whenever they finish the game, it sends the score to the server. If it's a high score, it gets saved into the file. And then if somebody else comes to play later, they can request and see the current high scores, and their score can get saved into a file. So this is something I've done, and I've demonstrated, and if you can go backwards in video time, you could see the pieces of this. You could get more sophisticated than just a local text file. You could actually have a proper, so to speak, database. And you would need that if you have large amounts of data, or you need stuff to be, hold on, this maybe Matthew, you can edit this out. I'll just say large amounts of data again. Large amounts of data. If only I knew what I was going to say next. Large amounts of data, or if you needed encrypted passwords and all sorts of things, and you want additional functionality, a database, and you could learn MongoDB or CouchDB, and you can install that and get a node package and all that. What I'm here today in this video to show you the beginning steps of how to work with something called database as service. So what if there's something else existed? Oh, I made it a cloud. Nothing is a cloud. There is no cloud. There are clouds. It rains, but there's no clouds in the internet. So this other, let me erase that. I don't know where my eraser went. Here it is. Okay, so there's another, what if there were another server somewhere? So this is a server that's, you have some ownership or account over, this is your client, but what if there was a server that wasn't yours, and that you could actually eliminate this, and you could just say, hey, save this data for me, could I get this data back? And you wouldn't have to write the server, the node program, set up the database, it would just exist, and it would have an API, an interface for you to make calls to it. So this is what's known as database as service. Exclamation point. Database as service. So this is incredibly useful because you don't have to set up, configure. This is easy. Just hey, can you say, hey, database as service, could you save this for me? And I might ask you for it later. So now there are lots of examples of this. A particular product that I'm going to show you in this video and the next one is something called Firebase, which is, it wasn't originally created by Google, but I believe Google acquired it, so it's a Google service. There's something that I really like also called Sheet.Sue for turning a Google Sheet into an API that you can save data to and request data from. Sheet.Sue doesn't have a lot of great free options as far as I can tell. Maybe somebody can correct me in the comments and I'll come back and do a video about it. But as far as I can tell, you can only have one Google Sheet and 300 calls per month. So I'm going to focus on Firebase, which has quite a lot that you can do with it without a paid account. There's limits to that, of course. And then there are probably other examples that you can add in the comments if there are things that you use that I should explore in a future video or that sort of thing. So this is, but I should mention, the last thing I want to mention here in this kind of introductory explanation is you also don't have to cut this out. So you could still have your node program, and your node program could also connect to the database as service. So there's, it just sort of depends. If you only need client-side code and you just want to save some data, and you don't, security isn't too much of an issue for you, this is going to be just fine. If you have some other server-side components, but you don't want to deal with setting up your own database, you could still use the database as service and the server and your client. Everything is possible. So this is my sort of introduction to why this matters. And in the next video, I'm going to just get started with how to set up a Firebase account and how to send data to it from P5.js or any JavaScript program really, and how to request data from any JavaScript program. And I'll see you in the next video if you're interested. Okay. I see someone say more people means mentality in the chat is degrading. So please, be kind, be friendly. Less is more in terms of like the chat, and hopefully it's an enjoyable space for everyone. Okay. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. Here I am. Okay. So now what I need to do is, did that make sense? Lift camera a little. Which camera? So I don't know which camera to lift, but it might have been the one over, probably the whiteboard one. That's probably where you guys are. Okay, so, oh boy, YouTube chat. I think we finally arrived, everybody. Anyway, I'll talk about this later. Okay, so Okay, so let me get set up here. So again, I had no time today to prepare. No time at all. But, so I'm going to prepare while I'm live here. So the first thing I need to do is grab my starter empty example and go into A to Z. Now, this is sort of still session 8, but guess what? It's now session 9. In terms of my syllabus at ITP, this Firebase stuff was just kind of sandwiched in, but I feel like this should be a new session, database as service session, and maybe I'll do a bunch of different examples, but today will just be Firebase. So I'm going to put in this here, and I'm going to call this Firebase 1. I'm going to open up my Atom editor, and let's see if it's. Here it is. I am going to add project folder. I'm going to add, whoops, I'm in the wrong place. A to Z, session 9 over here. Session 9. This is where I usually would put music on because I'm just kind of getting myself set up here. I will sing to you. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I can't stop getting set up because I started to sing. Does not work. This, for some reason, doing a live stream always reminds me to enter the Hamilton lottery. Actually, I started singing from Mary Poppins. Oh wait, so I have to take a break to enter the Hamilton lottery, and you can all like really root for me here. I have a sad story to tell. It's not that sad, but I have an 8-year-old son, and he loves Hamilton, and it's very, very hard to get Hamilton tickets. My sister-in-law, she had tickets. She bought them like years ago. She had an extra one. He was going to go. He was so excited. Stomach flu. He was so sad he didn't get to go. So I've really, really got to win this Hamilton lottery, or just buy tickets for 2 years from now or something. He's 8. 10 will like it even more. That's my personal story to tell for today. So wait, I have an app. It's the skip ahead in the future time when you're watching this as an archive. Okay, I'm going to just quickly enter the Hamilton lottery here. This is just going to take me a second. I have an app that automatically does it. Now I have to select all the images that are of a storefront because I need to show that I'm not a robot. I'm kind of a robot. I'm a very emotional, weepy robot. Neurotic, nervous, and uncomfortable with just about everything robot. I think I entered. I kind of got distracted because I can't play the music, so I have to talk here. Okay, I got to enter. One more thing I got to click on. Okay, Hamilton. And then somebody needs to remind me a little after 4 p.m. Eastern time to check. So in the chat, if you guys are still here a little after 4 p.m. Eastern time, please remind me. Okay, select all the squares with street signs. Did I do it? Oh, more? Oh my God, it really thinks I'm a robot. I swear, I am human. Okay, I entered the lottery. Okay, here we go. So now, so I'm back. And the other thing I need to do, and hold on, you guys, you're gonna lose my audio for a second, but I promise it will come right back, okay? So I'm over here now. Okay, is my audio back? The reason why I switched to this view, even though you can't see the top of my head, is because I need to log into a Google account, and I just don't want to log into my personal email by accident. I don't care if you guys see my name and stuff, but I don't want people who've emailed me to have their privacy violated. So I need to go to Firebase. So I will do this, obviously, with you. I just need to, yeah, I'm logged in. So let me sign out and sign out. Seriously? Okay, sign in. Okay, so now I can go back here. Now I can go back here. Oh, sorry. I guess the sound was still gone. I swear I corrected that. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. Why is there no headband and purple shirt? I do have the headband. The problem with the headband is it's got this green stripe in it. It cuts off my head. Tiga has been a guest here. Now, of course, I guess did exactly what I didn't want to do, which is crap. But annotate. It's fine. This is what I want to sign into. No. Okay, fine. Next. What is the password for this? Nope. Okay, done. I don't want a recovery phone. Okay, great. So I am now logged into Firebase. All right, that was what I needed to do. Firebase. Okay, now I just need to review my notes to remember the Firebase console, create a new project, get this, rules, API key, database, reference, retrieving data. Okay, so you demand the headband. Okay, so okay, the headband is back for a minute. Okay, so let me think about this. What I want to do as a coding challenge is I want to make an application which has a canvas and allows users to make drawings on the canvas, press a button save, and it saves those drawings to Firebase, and then they can be retrieved later. So like a doodle application. And when I say save the drawings, I don't mean the pixels of the drawing, although that would be possible as well. I mean the data of the drawing, and that I think is a little bit more interesting because you can mix and match and regenerate it in all sorts of interesting ways. So that's ultimately what I'm planning to do by the time I leave here today, which will be in about an hour and 15 minutes or an hour and a half or a little longer if it takes longer. So in order to get to there, I guess what I need to do is do a basic tutorial. And I suppose I could use the high score list as a kind of basic example. I wish I could think of something more creative. If you, please keep the headband, it helps focus. It helps me focus or you focus? That's the question. Oh, right, I did a tutorial about sockets with drawing, so that's perfect, it connects to that. But does anybody have an idea for, let me show you my examples. Like, I made these examples a long time ago, so I'm gonna rebuild them from scratch. But like, I wish I just had something a little bit more interesting than this. Ooh. So this is like a little quick form where I can put in fruit and a number. So if I were to say melon, by the way, melon, I've been having some throat issues. And I've noticed that melon, which has a very low, is not an acidic, whereas like citrus is very acidic. Melon has a pH level that is very neutral or basic even, and it's very soothing. So I've discovered a new love for melon. And so I had maybe 10 pieces of melon yesterday. I can hit submit, and you can see melon is there now. You can see it there on the bottom. And if I come back to this page, it's going to have, it's going to retrieve everything from, oh, it says parse up here. I should change that because, by the way, I used to use parse.com, which then got bought by Facebook or something, so you can't use it anymore. And then you can see it's still there. So, so this is what I would build to start just as a demo or like a quick high score thing. Why don't I do high score? Yeah, nobody in the chat, until somebody in the chat has a better idea, I think I will probably start with high score. And then I'll do the drawing thing as a more creative application. OK, so in order to do high score, we need a game. I got an idea. OK. OK. I think I'm going to make like a ridiculous game where just the more times you've clicked a button, the higher your score is. So it's going to hangman. Yeah, I'm not making any elaborate Fruit Ninja 2. You guys are all like, but I'm coming back one day to just do like games all day because that I've noticed the Snake game and the Space Invader stuff has been really popular. But I'm on this train. I'm on the coding train. Choo choo. That's a little foreshadowing for you, maybe. We'll see. All aboard. Hello to China. OK, so I got to get started. We're in video number 2 now. OK, and so I'm going to get started here with a high score. Yeah, I could move the circle. That's kind of cool. So I don't want to make too complicated of a game. The idea is like you could make a more interesting game. I'm going to make a very basic game. OK, great. Here we go. By the way, I don't remember how to do any of this Firebase stuff, so I'm sure I'm going to screw it up wildly, and we'll see how it goes. Have some chamomile tea. Make a high score for the Snake game. That's such a good idea. I'm going to make that a challenge for people to do afterwards. OK. Hello, welcome to a video about how to use Firebase with client-side JavaScript only. So what I'm going to do in this video is from scratch, without any code in advance and without any, you don't need to have any knowledge of Firebase whatsoever. I'm going to make a very, very simple game, which is how many times can you click? And then at a certain point when you get tired of clicking, you can save your score to a database, and we'll use that database as like a kind of like high score database. So first let me make the game. And I'm using P5.js, and I'll use a canvas. I'm going to say var canvas, and I'm going to say canvas equals create canvas. I'm going to make it a really small canvas. It's just 100 by 100. And then I'm going to say create P, click the canvas to get points. And then in the canvas itself, I'm going to need a variable called score. And I'm going to make the score equal to 0. And then I'm going to say background 0 and text align center and text the score and the middle of the canvas and the text size, 32. And then if you click on the canvas, I can use the mouse pressed event and say give it a function like increase score. And I'm going to say function increase score plus plus. So let's see. Oh, timeout. I'm not sure you could edit this part out. I forgot to run a local server. So let me do that. I don't think this needs to be in the tutorial video itself. Where am I? Oh, desktop. Desktop, coding, A to Z, clear. Where am I? Session 9. Oh, no, I'll just do it here. Python-m, simple HTTP server. And I spelled that wrong. now I can minimize this. We can go into localhost, and I'm going to just go back to where I was. It's going to edit together. Now I can go to the browser, and I can go to my code, and I can find what errors I have. Create P is not defined because I forgot to include the P5 DOM library, which I also want to include. And now I'm going to hit refresh. And I don't know why I'm not seeing the score. Probably because the text is by default black and the background is black, so I'm going to set the fill to white. Okay, so here we go. This is the game. Basically, the game is the more patience you have to sit here and click the mouse, and I'm sure some of you clever people on the internet can create a way to auto-click, create a robot thing to click and get the high score, but that's not the point of this anyway. The point of this is I want to show you how to then save your score into Firebase, and then you, somebody watching this video who's actually made an interesting game, could make a different game and save that score save the actual high score into Firebase. So how do I get started using Firebase? So sorry for that little, maybe they'll have an annotation that skips to this part of the video. Or I wonder if I should start this video over and just have it start from here. I don't know what anybody thinks in the chat. Sometimes what I'm doing now is totally fine, but maybe this making of this quick little simple game should just live in the archive. And there could be a link in the video to where I make this quick little game. I think I'm going to do that because I think it makes sense, Mathieu, if you're listening, for when the video comes out for it to just start with the Firebase stuff. Okay, so let me actually make this a little bit better because I don't like how it's doing that. So I'm going to add a button. I'm going to say click the button to get points. And I'm going to say button equals create button. Click. And then I'm going to say, you know what I should just do? I should just make this a link. Whatever. Create it's fine. Button, mouse pressed, increase score. Okay. This is my stupid game where the more you can click this button, the higher the score you can get. Okay, so now I'm ready to start the actual Firebase video. I have my Firebase tutorial, which I want to start with here. I have the Firebase console, which I'm going to need. Sign in. How come I'm not signed in? Oh. Okay, I'm signed in. And now I'm at the game. Okay. Here we go, everybody. Now, boy, I'm so fast doing this stuff, aren't I? Okay, here we go. Cycle that camera one more time. Okay. Sorry I don't have any music and dancing for you guys today. I'm sure that'll come back next week. So, I guess I should start here with this. All right. Thumbnail. Sometimes I make weird expressions that can be used for a thumbnail later. Okay. All right. I see a number 3 in how many people are watching, which leads me to believe that over 300 people are watching, which is also completely insane. Here we go. Hello, welcome to a video about how to use this thing called Firebase, which is a database as service. I made a previous video sort of introducing the idea of what database as service is and why that's a meaningful thing that you might want to use. You can go back and watch that if you haven't, or you could just be right here and get started. So this simple basic demonstration that I'm going to show you is, let's say you've made a game that runs in the browser, client-side, JavaScript only, no fancy node server-side program, but you want to have that game be able to save a high score. And that's what I'm going to do in this particular video. So let me show you. This is Firebase, by the way, so I'll come back to this in a second, firebase.google.com. But this is my game. So the code to this game will be available as part of the video. I'll also have a link to show you the video, the part of the video where I actually coded this game. But you'll show it's a very simple game. The goal of the game is to click this button as many times as you possibly can. And the more I click it, the higher my score. So if you guys don't mind, I'm just going to click it till I get to, like, I don't know, 4,000 or 5,000. No, just kidding. Okay, I'm going to stop and move on. 43 is my high score. See if you can beat it. And I know you fancy people on the internet will figure out all sorts of ways to auto-click that button to infinity or whatever and break and win the whole universe, etc. But I don't care about that. I need to add, I need to be able to save that score with my name to the database. So let's go to Firebase. So what you need to do is go to this URL, firebase.google.com. Firebase is a Google product, so you also will need to have a Google account. I'm already signed into some Google account that I made for this purpose, and now I'm ready to go to console, because the console is where I can manage my database on the Firebase website itself. So before I can start adding code to put stuff in the database, I need to go to this console. So I'm going to click on Go to Console, and here I am. Welcome to Firebase. I don't know how well you can see these, but the first thing I need to do is create a new project. So I'm going to do that right now. Create a new project. Project name, My Awesome Project. Thanks, Google, for that suggestion. I think it's really awesome too. But I'm going to call it my not awesome project. And then I'm going to say create project, and I'm accepting all sorts of terms and conditions right now. And I'm watching the thing spin. I don't have anything to say while it spins. Boy, I hope this doesn't take much longer. This is very awkward. Oh, it's only getting more awkward. What's happening, internet? Okay, so there we go. Okay, so I don't know if I clicked on something or I just got here, but now I'm in my not awesome project, and I'm looking at this, and I have some options. So Firebase has, you can use, it's just a generic service on the server where I can say, hey, save this, and later if I ask for it, please give it back to me. And what I'm doing here is I want to add Firebase to my web app. So this is a good place where I can click to get started. Of course, if you're using iOS or Android, you can do that as well. And so the key thing that's happening here is that I am getting all this information about how to authenticate into Firebase. So first, what I need to do is make sure I have a reference to the Firebase library itself. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to go back to my code, and I'm going to go back to my index.html file where I have a reference to all the JavaScript libraries that I'm using. I'm currently just using p5.js, p5dom.js, and my code that I'm writing is in sketch.js. So I'm going to add this script tag, which now links to the Firebase library. There's different versions of Firebase. I guess the current one is 3.6.3. And then I'm going to go back to here, and I'm going to grab this. So this code, if I zoom in on this, this is the stuff that I actually want to put in my code itself. Config equals all this stuff, my API key, my auth domain, my database URL, storage bucket, my messaging center ID, and then I want to say Firebase initialize. So this makes that connection to Firebase itself. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to just put this in setup. Setup is p5.js is kind of like page loaded function, so that's the event where everything is ready. If you're using jQuery or any other framework, you just want to do this stuff at the beginning once your page has loaded. And then I'm just going to say console.log Firebase, just to sort of see that I don't have any errors. So I'm going to go back to my game, and I'm going to hit refresh, and this looks good. Looks like, you know, there's all sorts of stuff there and no errors, so I am now connected to Firebase. Excellent. Now, I have to pause for a second because I got to do something a little bit more. You might have noticed, like, oh, look at that. In my code is all of my like secret stuff, like my API key and the URL and this messenger sender ID. So there's an issue here, which is that what I'm doing has no security to it whatsoever. So yeah, I'm going to publish this to the web. Anybody could go to view source, could see this stuff. And in fact, I don't want to have to authenticate for this quick demonstration into Firebase. I'm not going to add that sort of security code. So in order for what I'm going to do, the one thing I have to do is also go back to the Firebase console, and I have to go here to authentication, No, okay, wait, hold on. I have notes on this. This link might be relevant to you. I need to go to the Rules tab and go under Rules. So let's go to Rules. Does anybody see that? Maybe I can just go back to here. My Not Awesome project. Okay, timeout. I have to find the Rules tab. Overview. Let me go back. Add Firebase to your web application. That's where I was. Where's Rules? Authentication, hosting. I'm looking in the chat. Boy, the chat is really degraded. Okay. Database. Rules. Okay, sorry. There it is. Okay, wait, I got to come back. So as Mathieu, this is going to be some sort of like editing thing. So where was I? I was on Overview, Add Firebase to your web, and I was here. And I was kind of like zoomed in. And then I was here. So I know this will have to get spliced in. I was talking. Okay. So I have to go back to Firebase. And the next thing I need to do is come over here to the left and click on Database. This is actually the main link that I'm going to need, which is going to have all the information about my database. Click on that, and I need to go over to Rules. And these rules are now who is allowed to read and write to the database. Some people might be allowed to read, some people might be allowed to write, and I'm going to do something which is generally a bad idea, but for the kind of quick and dirty experiments I'm doing, no big deal. And I'll talk about, at the end of this video, I'll talk about ways that you can add authentication and security to what you're doing. But I want to focus on just how Firebase works and get the code up and running. So on my website where I have a tutorial, I actually have the configuration, the JavaScript configuration that I need, which I just want true for read and true for write for anybody in the world. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to go back to my Firebase console. I'm going to paste that in here, and I'm going to hit publish. And now it's giving me this warning. Your security rules are defined as public. Anyone can read or write to your database. Again, of course, if you're having people submit private data, or there's some sort of anything that privacy or security is a concern, you wouldn't want to do this. But for a quick example of a high score list, big deal. I don't care if anybody. All of you are welcome. No, you're not. Please don't. But you'll very easily be able to hack this high score list anytime you want. Okay. So let me go back to now. Where were we? So what I want to do now that I've done that is I need to start actually connecting to the database. So I don't really remember this stuff off the top of my head. So I'm going to go to my notes here. And the first thing I'm going to do is just grab this line of code. And I kind of remembered that. And I'm going to say var database equals firebase.database. So this Firebase is the main object that is now connected to my online database on Firebase. So now I have that database in a variable. Now, I kind of want to use the whiteboard. This is going to get edited out. I'm stopping to think for a second. I'm also looking at the chat just to see if anybody's like really upset about something I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to come back over here to talk about, I'm just going to look at my notes for a second. Reference, and everything has like a path, fruits, right, fruits, scores, name, right, score. Okay. Push, data, reference. Okay, so I'm remembering everything now. Okay. So how is data, I'm going to try to give Mathieu an easier place to edit from. So how is data organized in Firebase? So data in Firebase is organized in a tree-like structure, just like a JavaScript object. And the way that you access that tree-like structure is with a reference, or REF for short. So basically I have a very simple structure here where I want to have a scores reference. And in that score, I want to have multiple entries. Each entry, I want to have an ID, which is the kind of thing that databases often have. So each entry has a unique ID because I might have multiple scores that have the same value, or multiple high scores that have the same name and the same value. So if I really want to have a unique key for every single entry in the database, that's something that Firebase is going to generate for me. And then each one of these is going to have an ID, and as part of that ID, each one will have a score and a name. A score and a name. So this is just like a JSON file or an XML file, so sort of a tree of data. The root is scores. Scores has a bunch of children, which is all these IDs, an array of IDs. And each ID has children, which is a score and a name, a score and a name. So you could imagine a much more elaborate and complex way of structuring your data, and I'm sure you'll enjoy doing that in your own thing that you do, but I'm going to keep it simple with this. So how do I access the reference and data as a path in Firebase? So the way that I do that, it's actually quite simple. I just say var, I'm going to say ref equals database dot ref scores. So this is saying, hey, I want to access the scores node in that tree of data. And by the way, if I had multiple games, like I had a snake game, I could say scores/snake, and then I could have another node which is like, scores/Space Invaders. Or I could have a node that's snake/scores. And so I can use slashes to kind of like auto-traverse that tree and point directly to a specific point. Now, what I want to do is I want to store some data in there. So if I just say var data equals name DTS, which are my initials. Apparently my initials auto-convert into database in Atom Editor. Comma. Oh, no, that needs to be a string. And score, my high score was 43, right? And then I can just say reference push data. It's as simple as that. I need to authenticate to the database. I need to make a reference to the database. I need to get the database in a variable. I need to I need to access a part of the database like the scores node or the scores reference. I make a JavaScript object and I can just push it in there. So let's do that and let's run this code right over here. I'm going to hit refresh. And we can see now if I go to the console and I hit, I need to go, I'm in the wrong place. I'm going to click over now under data in the Firebase console. I can look at my data. And I can see, look at that. This is the tree, my not awesome project. There's a scores, and there's this ID, which has in it name DTS score 43. There it is. Guess what would happen, by the way, if I run this program again one more time? Look at this. Now it's in there twice. And you know what's great about Firebase is I can actually manage and manipulate the data through this web interface as well. So if I'm just testing out, I'm like, you know what? Those were just my tests. So now I want to make sure I delete this stuff. So I can just delete these entries as well. And now if I refresh, I don't think I need to refresh. I think the page will probably refresh for me. That data is gone. So I can start over. So of course, I don't want to just submit the data. I don't want to just submit the score, what am I saying, like hard-coded in the code. I want to actually submit the score dynamically based on the variables and things that are happening in my program. So let's look at how I would do that now. So what I need to add to this program is I want to add a initial. I'm going to say initial input. So I'm going to say initial input equals create input. I could add this into the HTML file, but if I do that on my program, we'll now see I have a place for you to put your initials. I'm doing a terrible job of like formatting this. And then I'm going to add another button, which is going to be the submit button. And I'm going to say submit button equals create button submit. And now I have also this submit button. The idea meaning that I can put DTS here, and then I can click submit, and I can submit whatever my score is here. Okay? So we're doing pretty well so far. I'm looking at the chat. Now what I want to do is bind an event when I click the button, submit score. So I need to write a function now that says submit score. So I need to now create that data, which is the initials. I'm going to say, yeah, we'll do initials. I didn't spell that right. Initials. And then what did I call the input? Initial input. initial input.value, and the score, which is just the actual score. I'm going to take out this, and then I need to say get all of this. And I think it might be nice just to have the database thing be a global variable, so I don't have to keep like remaking that. So I'm going to put that in setup right after I initialize it. Database equals Firebase Database. I don't need this console log anymore, but I do want to do this console log data, and then I don't need this anymore. Right? So the idea is whenever it's time to submit the score, I make a JavaScript object that has the data I want in it. I access the reference in the database that I want, and I push add the data to scores. So let's do this now. If I refresh this program, oops, I got an error on line 31. Initials, I have a semicolon there. That should be a comma. JavaScript object syntax. Here we go. So now I'm going to put my initials in, DTS. I'm going to try to beat my high score of 43. Come on. I can't believe you're watching a video of me click this. I'm just going to go to 44. OK, I got to 45. Now I'm going to hit submit. Looks like it submitted that. I'm going to get a little bit higher, and I got a new high score. And then I'm going to get a little bit higher, and I got a new high score. All right, high scores. So now what's going to happen here is I should be able to look back in Firebase, and I should be able to see, look at all these high scores there. They're all submitted to the database. Wonderful. So now we have a basic program which allows you to send data to the database. So in the next video, what I'm going to do is show you how to retrieve the data from the database so I can display a list of high scores. And whenever there's a new high score, I can actually have the page dynamically regenerate without having to reload or have a set interval running. Firebase is just always going to ping me whenever there's new data. So that'll be exciting to see in the next video. OK. Good. I'm not looking at the chat right now, but I am looking at the chat right now. Yes, I know I could hack the score. Everybody is pointing out all sorts of ways for me to hack the score. I could say score equals 10,000, and then I could submit that, and now I've beaten everybody's high score. Yay, yay. But that's not the point of what I'm doing. OK. So how are we on time? I need to check something. It's not time for me to check if I won the Hamilton lottery yet. But hold on, I'm just checking. OK. Oh yes. OK, I'm just checking some messages because I have. OK. Yep. Great. Everything's good. As some of you might know, I've been having people come visit the studio to record guest tutorials, and I've got some people coming later. Those won't get published for a couple days, but you can look forward to those. OK. I'm looking at the chat, and here we go. OK, so now what I need to do in the next video is retrieve the data from the database and display it in the window. Jarza asks, when is this going to be published? So after I finish this live stream today, this whole entire live stream will be archived and probably available later tonight or sometime tomorrow. And then the edited version of these tutorials in like separate chunks will get published sometime in the next week. And for those of you who are watching me live, as some of you are probably aware, what was I going to say? That you can often find, I kind of release the videos, make them like public on YouTube, like one per day to try to like have the content come out slowly. But if you ever look in any of the playlists, all the videos are already there in the playlist, just unlisted. So you can often find the videos well in advance. OK. All right, I got to stop looking at my phone. I do use Sublime Text. I've never used Angular. OK, I got to get to the next video. OK, so let's see. OK, so I want to save now. I want to make a bit of code that's called Firebase 2. And in this, I'm going to review my notes to kind of remember how some of this stuff works. I think, I didn't mention something very important, but that's OK. I'll mention it in the next video. On value, that's what I want. Got data, error data. Okay, this is how I do it. I might have to look at this because I don't know if I'll remember all of this, but I have this in my notes. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. So now let me go back to the code. Let me go back to the browser. Let's see. Oh no, I was going to see like how many people have submitted high scores, but then I realized I haven't published this game online anywhere, so nobody submitted any high scores but me. Okay, so I'm going to come back into the next video and come over here and hit refresh and get up to some sort of score. And I am going to go to the next topic. Okay. I'm having throat issues. I think maybe it's a bit of a problem that I spend so much time talking for my job. But anyway, everything's going to be fine. Okay. Okay, welcome to Firebase tutorial part 2. And in this particular video, what I'm going to do is make it that the high scores. Wait, let me start over. What? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so let me start over. I need melons, yes. Thank you, Bacau House Mafia. Okay. Did I cycle the camera? I definitely need to do that. I've lost some viewers. I noticed that number that was 300 is now as a 2. So thank you for those of you who are still here. No, this is Adam asked in the chat, is this how most YouTubers make videos? I have a feeling that, find me another YouTuber who makes videos like I do. I mean, in the sense that most people make much more professional, high quality videos. I don't know if anybody does this weird live stream thing, but this is how I do it. Thank you, Dominique, for reminding me. Okay. Welcome to part 2 of this Firebase tutorial stuff. In the previous video, I made a very simple game where you tried to click as much as you could, and then you type in your initials, and you hit submit, and your score gets sent to a database as part of Firebase. And we can see that that score is here right now. If that one that I just submitted, as I look in the Firebase console, we can see it right there. So now what I need to do is I need to figure out a way to ask for all the data from the database itself and display those results on the web page. And then anytime a new high score is submitted, the data could be shown as well. So, okay, so what I'm going to do is in the code, I need to say, hey, the part of the database that I want to access, the reference, the path to the reference is scores. And then what I want to say is ref on. So what I'm now doing is I'm saying I want to start to bind different kinds of events. So there are all sorts of kinds of events. One particular kind of event is, hey, there's data. And that particular event is a value. So I want to say on the event value, I want to have 2 callbacks now. I want to call back a function that gets triggered where I can receive the data. And then I also need to call back in case there's an error. I can't remember which one goes where. Let's guess. I'm going to make a function called getData. And then err for error data. And I might have gotten those reversed. And I'm going to just add those functions now. Got data. And I'm going to say err data error. And I'm going to say console.log error. Console.log error. And then I'm going to do console.log data here. So let's see if I got that right. So what should happen is right when the program starts, I should see some data in the console. So let's look at that. Oh, that looks promising. So I don't think this is the error, but you can notice, like, is there any way I'm ever going to make sense of this? What is this crazy JavaScript object? So the thing about it is Firebase has its special magical way of doing things, and the data that I actually want is in. I have to retrieve it with a function. So this thing that comes in is a full JavaScript object with lots of functionality and all syntax that you do. And I think if I call .val, I'll see the actual data. There we go. That looks more promising. And you can see, look at this. This looks like an array. It actually is not an array, sorry. It looks like an array, but this is an object where the keys, each key is bound to an object that has the initials and the score. initials in the score, initials in the score. So what I want to do now is iterate over all of those keys to display all the scores on the page. So how do I iterate now? If I had an array, I would just write a for loop. Or I could use a for each loop. Everybody always complains that I don't use for each loops. I don't know, I'm just like a little baby programmer and they scare me. I like a good, anyway, I just like code to be sort of readable and it's just a convention that I'm adopting. Someday I'll use some for each loops for all of you who are wondering. So what I want to do is I'm going to actually say var scores equals data.val. And then I'm going to say what I want to do is say keys equals object.keys. I think this is how I do this in JavaScript. Object.keys, or maybe it's getKeys, but this should give me an array of all the keys in that JavaScript object. Let's try this. That looks promising. Yep. So now I have an array with all the keys, those keys to the data. So now I can say for var I equals 0, I is less than keys.length, I plus plus, var the key is keys index I. Whoops. And now I can say the score, the name or the initials is scores index. Scores index k dot initials, and the score is scores index k. Right, that's the key. It's not. It's score. Okay, I think I'm doing this right. I'm gonna and I'm gonna I just want to console log it to see that it works. So there we go. Oh, I don't know why I got undefined 43. I wonder if initially I didn't call it initials. So let's go back. Let's see, why did I get undefined? So yeah, look at this. These first, and this, by the way, is the first things I put in the database. So I just need to delete these that were like old data when I was like testing. This is the wonderful thing about Firebase. I can just remove them right here. So now this one is correct. So now I can run this again. And I can see there's all the initials and high scores. So this is good. And by the way, I want to show you something that's going to happen. This is going to be crazy. I'm going to add my initial, and I need different initials. RBW, and I'm going to get some points here, and I'm going to hit submit. Look, I added something new to the database, and an event got triggered that showed me all the data. So this is what's so great about Firebase. I can set up an event, just call that function anytime, anywhere the data changes. So I don't need like a separate like update data method. This is always going to happen. So what should I do? I want to display those the high score list here. So I don't know how fancy I want to get about this, but I'm going to do it in a slightly fancy way. It's not going to be very fancy. I'm going to, in advance, set up a list, an ordered list, and I'm going to give that an ID score list. I'm putting some stuff in HTML, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say var li equals create element. So this is a document.create element. This is the same sort of, I'm just using the P5 DOM library. Create element, I want an li element that has as its content initials plus colon space plus score. And then I want to say li.parent, what did I call that? Score list. So that's going to create that element and then put it in the score list. And so here we go. We should see there's the score list, and it's always at the top. So look, now I've retrieved the data from the database, and there it is. Now, interestingly enough, what happens if I submit again, and I do uni with another? Look, all of those came in again because anytime the data changes, it refills my whole list. So what I actually want to do is I need to also, in this getData function, I need to clear the list. Boy, after doing these videos for a while, my brain starts to melt. So I don't know. There's probably a bunch of ways I could do this. I'm going to just also give it a class, which is like a score listing. I'll call it score listing. So all these elements, I'll assign them to a class, because now I can just say at the beginning here, I could say something like score listings equals select all dot score listing. So I could, before I'm about to, and I'm sure there's a much more efficient way I could do this, but just to sort of like finish this off, dot length I++. So this is a function in the P5 library that allows me to select and get an array of elements. I want all the elements that are part of that class. And since everything I created was assigned this class, before I regenerate that list, let me just clear it. So I'm going to say score listings index I dot remove. So now what this should do is I should see those are the scores. And now I'm going to add another one, AAA with 4. And we can see that just gets added there. So now we have a fully featured web application with a simple game. Now I hate that I hate that the game is below the score list, and I just have to fix it. So I'm going to fix that. I've done this in like a kind of ridiculously horrible way that I don't like. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a div, and I'm going to call it game. And what I'm going to do is all the other elements that I'm making, what I made in the code, I'm going to parent them to the div which is above. This is so silly that I'm doing this, but I just can't help it. So I'm going to say canvas.parent. What did I call that again? Game. Create P. And I can actually chain these kind of functions. Parent, game. And then the buttons, I should initial input. Oh, but you could do, there's so many ways this could be improved. But I'm just doing it this way because it's going to work and it's going to make me feel happy. And submit button parent. So now, there we go. So now I can play this game. Oh, where's that click button? The submit button, the initial input. Oh, I forgot about this button. So now we can see here, I can get a high score, and I can say, I can have another set of initials, A, B, C, hit submit, and we can see there it is. And anytime I refresh this page, I come back to this web application, I've got, hello? Oh, I'm in Firebase, yeah. Anytime I come back and I refresh this web application, I've got the high score list from before. So there we go. We now have a fully fledged web application with a game that you can play, a place for you to type in your initials, a place for you to submit your score, and a high score list that will be stored for all time in a Firebase database, and that is always updated whenever. So if multiple people and multiple clients were playing this game, this would update even as you're playing the game. So that's a pretty exciting thing to do. Now, I've missed a lot of details here. There's one that I think is worth pointing out that I just want to like briefly mention, which is that when you do this, when you push data, to the database, that unique ID is actually generated here and stored, and you can get it as the result of reference.push. So I'm just going to say something, var ID equals reference.push, console.log ID. This is very useful because if you ever want to be able to just ask for an individual field from the database itself, you're going to want to have access to that ID in your code. So I just want to show you that this works and is possible. I'm going to need it in a future video that I'm going to do next. I'm going to take out some of the console logging for a second, just so we can see that. OK, so now I'm going to do this. And I want to just show you that if I put in another score, DEF, click, 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 submit, that, oh, you know, maybe, so this thing came back, is the key, maybe I need the function. I think I forgot how to do this. Where did I do this? Boy, this video was going so well until I decided to just show you this one extra little thing. I can't even, I'm like scrolling up and down like a crazy person here. Where do I push data to the database? Right here. Do I say dot key? No. OK, whoops. Hold on. Hold on. This. Okay, hold on. Timeout. I have to go look. I'm seeing some nice messages in the chat. That's very nice of you guys. I have to go look in my notes. Do I say this somewhere? ID, reference, push. Well, I do this in some of my examples. Where are my examples? Source. Do I do it in this one? Fruit. Fruit.key. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there can be a callback there, too. Why did that not work? Push data, console log, key. Let's see here for a second. Oh, I don't know why that didn't work before, but there it is. Okay, I got to double back, and this can kind of get, I got to double back here. And I'm going to sort of figure out, Mathieu will have to do some sort of genius work again to figure out how to edit this together. Sorry, I got tired. It takes a lot of energy to do this. It's 4 o'clock. I hope I can do the drawing one. Okay. All right, let me see here. And let me think about how could this get spliced back together. And where was I? I don't know where I was. I was over here. I'll just sort of say it again. This could also just completely go out of the video. I see people talking about trains, Romanian trains. Anyway, maybe you're talking about the coding train. Okay, so I gotta get back. Here we go. Okay. So one thing that I want to point out that I haven't done yet in this, and I haven't needed for this example, is sometimes I want to, as soon as I add something to the database, have that key in my local code so I can update or change or work with that particular record that's in the database itself. So, for example, what if I wanted to, instead of every time I do DTS and hit submit again, it overrides my previous entry? So a way that I can do that is right here, when I actually push data to the database, I actually get something back. And what I get back is kind of like a result, I'm going to call it. This object that has all this information about what I just did to send. And one thing that's in there that's actually generated through the library itself is the key. So I think if I console log now result.key, anytime I add something to the database, we should see BFG. And I'm going to hit BFG is going to have a nice score. And I can see there's the key. So you can see I have access immediately to that key, and I can also store that in a variable. I know the one that was just submitted. So there's a lot more things that you might want to do here. So I finished this up. I've got this whole working example. And I'm going to give you some exercises if you want to try to build first of all, make a more interesting game. Second of all, could you sort this high score list by the highest score? Does Firebase do that for you, or is it up to you to sort the data once you get it back? Interesting question. Tell me your answer in the comments. The other thing you might do is, be able to override your own score during an individual session by updating a particular key. So at some point I'll have to add another tutorial to how to update records in the database. And if you're interested in that, I don't have a video yet, write that in the comments. But what I'm going to do one more video as a coding challenge about working with Firebase. And I'm going to create an application where you create a drawing, and that drawing gets saved to a Firebase database. And then you have a kind of gallery of all of the drawings that other people have made. So a kind of collective crowdsourced drawing library. Okay, thanks very much, and I'll see you soon. Okay. Can you please put the click button, the name input, and the submit button in the canvas? That is possible, but you could use absolute positioning and that sort of thing. Okay, so I'm going to try to answer a few questions. How does Firebase manage the data types of the input data? That's a very good question. I don't know. Let's go look at the console for a second. I think it just does it the same way that JavaScript does. So it just kind of speaks JSON. So and JavaScript is a very flexibly typed language. So, but the kind of examples I'm making, all I need to put in there are strings and numbers. But score could actually be an array, and we're going to see that in the next example. Whoops, I lost the chat. Shoot, hide chat, show chat. Okay. Okay. Are you guys finding this useful? Any questions? Do I have time for this next part? It's 4 o'clock. Oh, I can check the Hamilton lottery. Okay, hold on a sec. By the way, if I win the Hamilton lottery, this live stream is going to be immediately over. I promise I will come back. It's very unlikely. I wonder how many people enter each day. In the hundreds of thousands, I'm sure. So I'm just checking very briefly. Where is the app? Ugh. Come on, lottery, where are you? I don't know why I can't find it. I'm losing my mind here. Here we go. Let me quickly check. Check lottery status. Did I win? No, wait, hold on. I did the wrong thing. One more second here. Canadian Cavalry feels bad that Canadian Cavalry does not know what Hamilton is. It is a Broadway musical. I am a fan of the musical theater. Where? And check now. Check lottery status. Did I win? Didn't win today. Okay, you guys can all be very pleased that I'm going to continue with this live stream. How do we suggest coding challenges? To be honest, I do have a place where you can suggest them, but because I've been on this sort of curriculum, I haven't been looking at it much recently, so I haven't been mentioning it. But there is a GitHub repository called Rainbow Topics. All the naming of all this will change. And here is where you can open an issue. You can see there are 207 issues opened right now and you can submit an issue as a coding challenge idea. And you can also thumbs up other ones. So if I go to sort and sort by most thumbs up reactions, you'll see that machine learning is up here, orbital fractal system, fluid dynamics, computer vision, 3D water physics. So you can sort of sort by, and you can see all these things that are, and thank you, Dominique, for posting that. Okay. All right, so I want to try to make, and I just realized I'm still in Firebase 1. So actually this one is, so let me close these files for a second. Firebase 1 is actually what I just did. So that's actually Firebase 2. So this is show data, and this one is send data. Okay, and I'm just going to quickly mention here, okay, so order by child, order by value, order by key. Thank you, Omar. Are those Firebase functions, or are those JavaScript functions? How can you rank personal scores using an array? Okay, all right. So I need to get a glass of water. This is kind of at the end. So I'm going to put on the this dot song. SoundCloud. Usually I have a soundboard, but I'm just going to go here to, let's see if this comes through. System preferences, sound, multi-output device.
Random algorithm itself, those numbers aren't related at all.
Oh, is that very loud?
I'm picking random numbers between 0 and 10. 9, 2, 7, 6, 1, 9, 4, 8,
Somebody
9,
tell me in
2,
the chat
1,
if the song
3.
is
I picked
too
9 a
loud.
lot, apparently. But with Perl and noise, I might pick numbers like this. 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 6. Well, this is like
all right, I'm going to go get a glass of water. I'm
performance
going to mute my microphone.
9, 2, 7, 6, 1, 9, 4, 8, 9, 2, 1, 3. I think 9 left. 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4. Look, this is like Pearl and Noise performance art. 7, 5, 9, 2, 7, 6, 1, 9, 4, 8. But with Pearl and Noise, I might pick numbers like this. 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 5. Hurling noise, that is. Hurling noise. So this is hurling noise, that is. Hurling noise. This is hurling noise, that is. Hurling noise. So this is hurling noise, that is. Hurling noise. Hurling noise, that is. Hurling noise. So this is hurling noise, that is. Hurling noise. This is hurling noise, that is. Hurling noise. So this is hurling noise, that is. Hurling noise.
Hurling noise, that is. Hurling noise. So this is hurling noise, that is. Hurling noise. This is hurling noise, that is. Hurling noise. So this is hurling noise, that is. Hurling noise, that is. Hurling noise. This is hurling noise, that is. Hurling noise. This is hurling noise, that is. Hurling noise. So this is hurling noise, that is. Hurling noise.
Apparently. But with
I put
Pearl
on the
and
Pearl
Noise,
and
I
Noise
might pick
song
numbers
by
like this. 2, 3, 4, 3.
I can't hear it because I changed the, hold on. Can you guys hear me again? It's not that this, okay, sorry everybody. I have to, internal speakers, and then multi-output device. And now,
4, 5, 6,
Oh, yeah.
5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7.
as always, I always forget the this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do dot, this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot song. This dot, this dot, this dot. Never forget this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot song. This dot, this dot, this dot. Never forget this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do dot, this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot song. This dot, this dot, this dot. Never forget this dot. This dot, this dot, this dot. Never forget this dot. I'm gonna do the this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot, the this dot song. Never forget the this dot. Somebody composed that song for me. Firework is not defined in line 6. Yep, as always, I always forget There's this two this dot, dot this songs, dot, by the this way.
dot.
Okay, so what I want to do now is, this is going to be a coding challenge where what I'm going to program, the code, everything, the code, David asked about where the code will be posted. All the code for every video I make gets posted on GitHub, and the video description should always have a link to that code. I have to say that sometimes I'm a little slow to do that, and Mathieu has been doing so much great work with the channel, has been helping keep that up to date as well, so trying to get a better system for that. But the code 100% will be posted on GitHub for sure. And if anybody has ideas or wants to volunteer to help maintain the GitHub repository, organize it better, that sort of thing, I certainly would love help with that. Okay. Okay, so it is 4:12. I'm trying to decide if I have time to do this. This is not going to be an easy project, I'm realizing, because even the previous one I did took quite a while. But I think I'm going to try to do it anyway. And if I run out of time, what I'm going to do is I'll come back. I have some guests coming. I'll record with them, and then I'll come back again and finish it afterwards, like later. The snake game, I already did. There's a video about the snake game which you can check out and watch. And I do have some plans to maybe do another video to improve on some of the concepts in that. Okay. Okay. Here we go. So what I'm going to reference is shared canvas, Schiffman, YouTube. I'm looking for this particular playlist, which has this one, which I can zoom in. I thought there'd be, yeah, here we go. Maybe I can make this bigger. Okay, I guess big deal. But this sort of connects to this playlist. I don't know why I was going to. Never mind. Okay, let me get started. Okay, time for a coding challenge. I got to get my energy going. I thought the music would do it. Maybe I just need to do some jumping jacks. Okay, here we go. I'm looking at the chat, and I'm ready to go. I'm going to cycle the cameras. Okay. All right. So many Google Chrome. Google Chrome Dinosaur Game would be a great coding challenge when I do my day of games. So thank you for that suggestion. Okay, boy, so many suggestions in the chat. Okay, it's been an hour and a half so far. I'm gonna get started. Okay, welcome to today's coding challenge. Today's coding challenge is to build a web application that allows users to make a little doodle drawing in a canvas and then have that drawing saved to a Firebase database and then create a gallery of all those drawings or a way for users to like click and find their previous drawings, something like that. So the first thing I need to do, and I'm going to use, first of all, you might want to check out my shared Canvas tutorial series, which showed how to use WebSockets to have a kind of collaborative whiteboard. So this is kind of connected to that in some ways. But I'm going to use the P5.js JavaScript library for canvas drawing, and I'm going to use Firebase for saving the data. And I have a whole tutorial series about Firebase. If that's new to you, you can go back and watch those and then come back here if you like. Deep breath. Okay, so actually I already have a little, usually I do these coding challenges with no code whatsoever, but I have a little bit so far because I have the Firebase configuration stuff already in my code because I don't want to have to like type all that out. And if you want to know how to get this Firebase configuration stuff, go back and watch my Firebase tutorials. Okay, so the first thing that I need to do is I'm going to make the canvas a little bit bigger. 400, 400. Let's just actually do 200, 200. And then I'm going to make a draw function. And I'm going to add a background. So now I want to just see that I have a canvas. Perfect. So now what I want to do is figure out a way to store points as I click and drag the mouse. Let's see. So let's use the, I think I want to use the, I think I could just do, actually, I'm just going to do this. A little bit silly. This is going to, I'll fix this later, but I'm going to just use in the draw loop, if mouse is pressed, then I need to create an object, which is a drawing. And that object, and actually I'm going to make that object an array, right? Because the drawing is going to be an array of points. Let's just start with that. If mouse is pressed, drawing.push, and I'm going to say var point equals an object which has an x, which is mouse x, and a y, which is mouse y, and I want to push that point into the drawing. So now, if I drag the mouse around and I look at, in the console, that drawing object, you can see it's a big array of all these x and y positions. So obviously I would like to see something where I'm drawing, so I can write a loop to look at everything in that array, and I can say at the beginning, I can say begin shape. At the end, I can say end shape, and these are all P5.js functions. Then I can just say vertex, drawing index i.x, drawing index i.y, and I can say stroke 255, stroke, I'm going to make it kind of thick, stroke weight 4, and no fill. So I'm going to make a generic path, just a shape with no fill. And as I do this, I've got the drawing. Now look what's happening though. Every time I lift the mouse, I only have one array. So as I add new points, it connects to the previous ones. So I've got to make this actually a little bit more sophisticated. What I want, and I didn't do this in the shared canvas example, but I'm going to do this in here. What I actually want is every time I press the mouse, I want to start a new cycle of drawing. So I'm actually going to tie some events. I'm going to say canvas, mouse pressed. and I'm going to say start drawing. And then I'm going to say canvas mouse released. And I don't mean start drawing. I don't know. I'm going to call it start path. Like the drawing is going to be an array of paths, end path. So what I want is I also need a variable. I'm going to call it current path, which is also going to be an array. So now I need a function, current path, start path. And what I'm going to do there is I'm going to say current path equals array. What I want to do now is end path. I want that current path to get added to the drawing. Drawing.push current path. So when I press the mouse down, I'm starting a new path. When I release the mouse, I've ended that path, and that full path, that array, goes into the drawing. So these points don't get added to the drawing, they get added to the current path. So if we look at that, now here, I'm looping through the drawing, and then the drawing is now, I need two loops, an array of paths. So for every drawing, I say a path equals drawing index I, and then for every, and then I need I can't use I again, for every spot in the path, set a vertex, and begin shape should be here. I should have a begin shape and an end shape for each path. Okay, so now I changed a lot of stuff. Who knows if I have some bugs in there? I'm sure I do. I always tend to have bugs. But the idea here is that the drawing is now an array of paths, and each path is an array of points. So let's see what happens now. The only thing is I don't see it until I release, because I'm only drawing the path when it's created. So I also want to make sure, and there might be a more efficient way that I could do this. Actually, all I need to do, this is actually really easy, is I actually just want to, I actually don't even need the end path, because I want to put the path in the array. Oh, no, sorry. That, I moved the wrong thing. Whoops. Current path push point, right? The drawing can get that current path as soon as it starts. I actually don't need to tell it when to stop, because, I could be using if mouse is pressed here. I was going to put a different variable in to know when I start and stop, but so I actually don't need to tell it to stop, because it'll stop as soon as I release. Let's see if this works. End path is not defined, so I think that I don't need this release anymore. That could be useful in other contexts, and I can do this. There we go. So this is a full drawing, and we can see what is the drawing. The drawing is 4 different arrays. This array is 43 points. This array is 46 points. This array is 29 points. So now I have a thing. So all I need now is a save button, because if I have a save button, I can now send this drawing to Firebase. That was the whole point of this video in the first place. So I have a little doodle machine, and now I need to save that drawing to Firebase. And you can imagine, by the way, you could add color to this, all sorts of things. I'm checking to make sure audio and everything is working. OK, so let's think about it. I have the Firebase code. When do I want to send the drawing to Firebase? OK, so I'm going to add, first of all, I'm going to do stuff in HTML here. So I'm going to do div id equals canvas container, just to have the canvas placed in a particular div. And so when I create the canvas, I can say canvas.parent canvas container. There we go. Yay. So that still works. And now what I want to do is add a save button. Button ID equals save button, and say save. So I should see now a button that says save. So now all I need to do is, in my code, I need to get access to that button. So here in setup, I want to say save. I probably don't need this as a global variable, so I'm going to say var save button equals select the ID, I called it save button. And then I could say save button, mouse pressed, save drawing. And I'm going to, now I need a function. I'm just going to put it at the bottom. Function save button, save drawing. And at the end, and in this function, what do I need to do? I need to connect to Firebase. So I need to make up a new reference. I'm going to call it Firebase.reference, and we'll call it drawings. And then I need to do what? Reference.push current. What? The drawing. It's already in. I'm like, well, what object do I put? It's already in an object. Now, I wonder if there's an issue if, there might be some metadata that I want to also add to the drawing or something, in which case it might actually make sense to make this an object. Like what if I wanted to put name? Like later, what if I wanted to have the name associated with the drawing? So I'm just going to do this right now, and I'm just going to have the name hard-coded in there. Sorry, I have an issue where something came up on my preview screen here. So this is just to show you that later, in case you want to add other data, that I can kind of wrap it in an object. So what I should see now so I'm going to make a drawing, and I'm going to write my name, D-A-N. I'm going to put a little rainbow on top for whatever reason. I'm going to hit save. And I got an error. Oh, Firebase reference is not a function. And look at this, by the way. I have a real problem where clicking this extends the drawing. So that we're obviously going to have to fix. It's database.reference. So let's fix that other problem too. This start path is happening. It should happen only when this is a problem. Mouse is pressed is a global variable across everything. So this is why I need the released event. So what I need here is to add released again, and I need a Boolean variable, I'm going to call it isDrawing, and it's going to be set to false. And when I press the mouse, so only if isDrawing is true should I be adding points. So when I start the path, isDrawing equals true, and when I'm done, isDrawing equals false, and that way when I click on the button, it doesn't think that I'm drawing. So let's try this again. And let me also, by the way, just to see that, I'm going to show you one thing that I didn't show in my Firebase tutorials, which is when I send the data, where do I do that? I can also have a callback. I'm going to call it data sent, and I'm going to write that as a separate function. Of course, I could use anonymous functions, but status, and I'm just going to say console.log status. So that should give me a success message. And I'm also going to say var result, and I'm going to say console.log result.key, just to see that things are working. So let's try this again. I'm going to make a nice rainbow, and I'm going to hit save. I got a key. I got a null, probably because there wasn't an error. So this probably is error status. But let's just assume that it worked. Let's go to the console. Oh my goodness. So by the way, this is what happens when you publish your keys on a live stream and have public security rules. Other people are creating entries in the database. I'm not going to go in and look just in case there's some unpleasant language in any of them. But thank you for all your hello messages into my database. I'm going to go into drawings and look at this drawing. And look, name Dan, drawing. And you look at this. It's an array. The first element has all of these points in it. The second element has all of these points in it. So all of the data for that drawing is now in the database. We're done. We're done with half of this. Pause. I need a short break for a second before I do the second half. I want to keep this all in one video. Who in the chat, did you really type out the keys, pause the video and retype them? That's really quite amazing. I'm looking in the chat to see if there's any information about who did this. I guess there are quite a few people watching. That's really quite unbelievable. It's 4:28. I've got about 15 minutes. Let's see if I can make this happen. More things are being added. Oh, look, thank you. Well, at least it was a nice message. Okay, hey, you guys, this is going to mess me up. I have to delete. I love this one, but because this is not it's not a valid drawing as part of what I'm going to do, this is going to mess me up. So I'm going to have to remove this one. Oh, and Jordan sent that. Thank you, Jordan, for that message. I really do appreciate it. If you could add your messages now into a separate data reference, that would be nice of you. Okay. Quick fix backwards iterate arrays. I don't know if people are what you guys are talking about. Okay, 2-2. All right. Okay, so I need to do the retrieval stuff. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the retrieval and show those. Okay. Oh yeah, I should have added that as a video tutorial, but it's just going to happen in this. Thank you for all the new subscribers and the people that are new here. It's been amazing this last week. Apparently maybe something was posted in Reddit, but I'm not sure. I just have having all this traffic, which is exciting because the more traffic, honestly, the more it'll allow me to carve out time to do this kind of stuff. And by the way, any patrons who are watching, I have all these rewards that I'm supposed to send, and I'm going to be sending those out before the end of the year. So I will. I'll just mention that in the Slack. I don't know why I just brought that up right now. Okay, Mathieu, this is an edit point. I'm going to go back into it. I don't remember what I had open when I stopped talking. Maybe I was here, but I'm just going to be back here. It'll just kind of get spliced together. Okay, found you on YouTube suggestions. Okay. All right, please play the this dot song. The this dot song is published. Somebody in the chat, please post the link to the this dot song. And thank you, Christian Peterson, wherever you are, for making that song. If anybody's like a music remixer, I would love more music to play on the channel. Okay. Okay, I got to keep going here. Let me check my messages. Boy, so many comments. YouTube comments are insane. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Okay, for the next step in this particular application that I want to do is create a listing below of all the available drawings in a way that I can click on them and see them. And I'm going to do this right here now in this coding challenge. So something that I can do is that I can create, and I showed this in my Firebase tutorials, is I can create I can say database. I can look at the reference, database.ref drawings, and I can say ref.onValue, which is an event that will get triggered whenever anything has ever changed in the database. Ref on value got data, error data in case there is an error. And now I can just have a callback. And I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom again. And I'm going to say got data, and I'm going to say error data. And just in case there's an error, I want to be able to see that in the console. And now in got data, I want to say var drawings equals data.val. And then I want to get all the keys, object.keys drawings. And then I want to iterate over all of the keys. And say console, and each key is keys index I, and I just want to look at the key first. So I'm just going to look at all the keys. Let's see if this works. So now we can see that came out here in the console, the key for one drawing, and I'm going to make another drawing, a heart. Well, that's a terrible heart. Save, and we can see I now got two keys. And I can actually I can actually make a whole nother entry just for this drawing. And I can hit save, and now I have 3 keys. And I don't know what I got undefined for, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. So hopefully, if I go back to the Firebase console, we can see that there are 3 drawings in here now. And everybody else, everybody has hacked my database and is giving all these hello messages, which I love to see. Hello, Oklahoma, where the wind falls mainly on the plain. I really should. I'm not showing my musical theater stripes here by like getting the lyrics wrong to Oklahoma. Someday I'll be able to reference that better. Okay, so now what I want to do is create a clickable list here where any of them that I click on, I could actually look at that particular drawing. So what I want to do is go into index.html and I'm going to add a ordered list, and I'm going to give that a ID like drawing list. And in the code, I'm going to, instead of console logging the keys, I'm going to say an li. I'm going to create an li element, and it's going to just have the key in it. Just going to do that just to sort of like see that that works. And I'm going to say li.parent drawing list. So if we do this, if I refresh this page, we should see that the elements are down here. I have those drawings ordered by key, and I should probably give them a name. Would be, again, I could add name to this, which would be a much better thing to display, or date created, all sorts of things that you could think about doing after the fact if you want to improve on this. But what I really want to do is make those clickable. So I'm going to just make this, I'm going to actually make this an empty element, and I'm going to create a span element with, actually I'm going to create an A element, a link element, which is create A, with the key in it, and then I'm going to create an event called show drawing. So, and then I'm going to parent that to the li element. So I have a full list. The list has li elements, and inside each li element is a link. And when I click on those, I should show the drawing. So now I need a function called show drawing, and I just want to console.log this.html. So we should see, I just want to see the content of what's in when I click on it. The HTML function will give me the content of the DOM element associated with this event. Oh boy, made this complicated. Oh, undefined, undefined, undefined. Oh, look at that. Click. Oh boy, and it tried to go to a link. OK, so what do I need to do here? So I should create a, that's where it's going, and it's got the key in it. Sorry, so I messed up. When I do use create E, I need to give it the place where it's supposed to link to, which I'm just going to use the pound symbol because I'm actually handling the click in JavaScript, and the key is the content. So that should be better. And let me go back. It's still, oh, there we go. So now you can see all these links, and when I click on them, I've got the ID. So now what I want to do is when I click on any one of these, I want to retrieve the drawing from the database. How do I retrieve the drawing from the database? Pause, edit, point. So I want to remember that I'm kind of standing like this, and this is where I need to look that up on my, I forgot what the code for that is, Firebase notes. And I just want to look how do I get search for one element? Oh yeah, ref data, oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I think I should change this to once. I just do a reference to fruit/ID. Of course. Great. OK. So now I'm back here. So similarly to how I asked for all of the data, I'm actually going to ask for one piece of data in a very similar way. So I'm going to, down here in show drawing, I know that the key is actually the thing. Now, I'm probably going to ultimately need to store the key in a different way, but it's kind of convenient that the key is the content of that link, so I can just pull it out. So once I have that key, I can say var ref equals database dot ref, database.ref. Sorry, what is it? What was it? Drawings? And then I can use the path / plus that particular key. And then I can say ref on value. I'm going to make a function called one drawing. And I can also have error data. I can use that same callback for an error. And then I can have this function one drawing. which gets data var the drawing equals data.val, and I'm just going to console log it. So now this should be every single one of those links. When I click on it, will go to the database and ask, look in the database, not in the drawings, right? Remember, the database has this nice tree here. So when I look just at drawings, I get all of these. But if I do drawing/ID, I get what's in here. So let's try that now and see if this works. Oops, I need to go back to the page, hit refresh, and I'm going to click. And look at that. It came back, the drawing with this array of data. I'm going to click here. I got a different drawing. Now, Dan is hard-coded in there, so they all look like they're the same. But you can see this is different. This drawing only had 2 strokes in it. It was an array of 2. So this is actually working. And guess what I can do now? I can, all I need to do is say current drawing equals drawing.drawing. Now, I'm using the word drawing way too much because it's what's named here. So I'm just going to say like db drawing just to like have it db drawing. So db drawing.drawing. I don't know if this is making it better or worse, but now we should see that when I hit refresh here, click here, ooh, click here. Oh, you know what? Current drawing. Okay, I have to go in a minute. Pause. Time out. I'm going to check and see if. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. Okay, so I'm gonna finish this today. I'm realizing that I'm like taking up way too much time, and I need to stop in a minute. But I'm gonna have to come back and finish this. I just want to get this last piece working. So I'm gonna kind of go back to where I was and just finish off this last piece. So setting current drawing was kind of a good idea, but I just realized in the main draw loop, I'm only drawing the things that are in the drawing array. So actually, current drawing, the current path. So actually, what I need to do, is say drawing equals d. It's not current. There's no current drawing. Drawing equals db.drawing. So let's try this. And now if I click here, there we go. So if I click on any of these, I have my previous drawings. And if I annotate this one, if I add to it and hit save, it should be in the database. Oh, I forgot to clear that, and I have all of these. And the last one is the new one. Hey, that's pretty great. Oh, I kind of finished. But I made a mistake, which is I didn't clear the list when I add new data. So I need to do that too. OK, timeout, pause. Sorry, I feel a little stressed out about the time, and I don't want to be rushing through this. So I'm going to go and come back a little later. It'll be live probably in a couple hours. I don't know how long it's going to take to record some of these guest tutorials, which are supposed to start. Oh, wait, is it only 4:42? Oh, it's only 4:42. I have more time than I thought. Let me just give me a second, everybody. I've got to check my messages. Hold on a sec. I just want to. I need to do this to just check the status here of where they are, because maybe I should just keep going now. Maybe I can finish. Let me put on the music again for you guys. Where's the this dot? SoundCloud.
So this is
As always, I always forget the this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot. Am I still?
this dot,
have I been muted all this time?
this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm going to do this dot, this dot. I'm going to do dot, this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot song, this dot, this dot, this dot. Never forget this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot song, this dot, this dot, this dot. Never forget this dot.
dot, this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do dot, this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot song. This dot, this dot, this dot. Never forget this dot. I'm paused for this dot, never forget this dot. I'm gonna do the this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot, the this dot song, never forget the this dot. Somebody compose that song for me. Firework is not defined in line 6. Yep, as always, I always forget the this dot, this dot, this dot. I'm gonna do the this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot, the this dot song, never forget the this dot. Somebody compose that song for me. Okay. This dot, this dot, this dot, the this dot song, never forget the this dot. This dot, this dot, this dot, the this dot, this dot, this dot, the this dot, this dot, this dot, the this dot song, never forget the this dot. This dot, this dot, this dot, this dot song, this dot, this dot, this dot, the this dot song, never forget the this dot. This dot, this dot, this dot, the this dot, this dot, this dot, the this dot, this dot, this dot, the this dot song, never forget the this dot. This dot, this dot, this dot, this dot song. Firework is not defined. Okay, line 6. As always, I always forget the this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot song. Firework is not defined. Okay, line 6. As always, I always forget the this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot song. Firework is not defined. Okay, line 6. As always, I always forget the this dot, this dot, this dot, this dot song. Firework is not defined. Okay, line 6. As always, I always forget the Hi everybody, I'm back. So I went past the time that I actually have right now, so I'm actually gonna need to stop the live stream. Don't worry, this tutorial is gonna get published. And I think I just have like maybe 10 more minutes left in making this example, so I'm gonna come back and finish recording it in a couple hours, and then I will be back. So just look for that YouTube notification that says is live, and you'll see me again live, and I'll finish this. And then of course the whole thing will be edited together as one singular tutorial, and that'll show up in the next few days or so. So thank you guys. I'm sorry for all of the kind of crazy scheduling. In January I have winter break, and classes are ending this week. So hopefully a lot of my streams in the future won't be so frantic and rushed and crazed and a lot of like stop and start. So thank you guys so much. I will be back later today, or for some reason I'm not coming back, stay tuned to my Twitter. Okay? It's been 2 hours, which is probably good for me to take a break anyway. My brain's a little fried. So I'm gonna hit stop on the stream. I'm gonna play you out with my theme song, which is edited to not say coding, and I'll see you guys later. Sorry I didn't have time for a Q&A. If I come back later tonight, I'll do some Q&A then. Okay? Bye everybody. Twitter handle is @Schiffman, SHIFFMAN.